When you are in the church, I don't want you to be known for bashing a certain community because you feel like they're going to hell. You do not have a heaven or a hell to put anybody in. She is fighting something inside of herself, and that is why she's consistently and constantly talking about this one particular community. What if there was a pastor talking about gluttony? Because we've seen, Kim Burrell's weight fluctuate, right? Now, she ain't just gaining weight because she want to. How would she feel if there was a pastor who was going in about people who were overweight, people who were obese, people who are gluttonous? Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Meloney P podcast. I'm your girl, Meloney P, and we are here for another episode. Listen, y'all, when we talk about that scary, this has been a scary week, and it's only Tuesday in the news. I don't know if you guys have heard that Kim Burrell gave an apology to the LGBTQ community. Okay. I don't know. People in the church and their selective criticism, selective sin bashing, they want to focus on this sin but ignore this sin, and talk about this sin but they doing this sin, so that sin really don't matter. Let me just read y'all what's going on. So Kim Burrell apologizes to the LGBTQ community for past homophobic remarks. Now, I have to say, when we talk about past homophobic remarks, when we refer to past homophobic remarks, we're not talking about one isolated remark. She's innocent, she's human. We're talking about, I have seen over the years where, Kim Burrell has had a lot of things to say as it relates to the LGBT community and just her disdain and her thoughts regarding the LGBTQ community. And for me, I'm just not here for it. I'm just not here for it because you know what else is a sin? Gluttony. Okay, gluttony is a sin. But let me read you this from hotnewhiphop.com. Kim Burrell says she's focused on bridge building. She used her time on stage at the Stellar Awards over the weekend to apologize to the LGBT community while accepting the Aretha Franklin Icon Award. In doing so, she's hoping the award can be used as a moment to bridge building as she seeks peace. I want to apologize to the LGBTQ community, she began. Let's give them a great big round of applause. We want them to have strength and to sincerely know that we must all do the work to embrace all of God's people and show forth his love to everyone. I hope that this award and this moment can be the beginning of a bridge building and listening to each other as we follow peace with all men and develop the character of God, which requires seeing God. Now, I'm not in Kim Burrell's brain. I'm not, I am nobody who can denigrate or, cheapen or minimize her apology. I think it's great that she apologized, but do I think that apology is sincere? I do not. And let me just say this. We as Christians have to do better. We have to do better. And I have said this before on other shows. I am a Christian. I have my own personal relationship with God. And one of the things that kind of swayed me away from church back then, especially when I was younger, is seeing so much hypocrisy within the Christian community, within the church. And it used to make me, and still does make me, so mad because it's like, y'all supposed to be, again, we're all human, but y'all should be the last people judging any group of people. Like, I always feel like, and my hope and my prayer is that if people are lost, people should find comfort in going to the church. If people are confused, if people have, concern, question, needs, want to know more about God, I want people to feel comfortable and safe going to the church. But I feel like, unfortunately, I have seen more people in church be snakes and be in church praying, saying all these positive things and acting like their shit don't stink. And then as soon as church is over, you see them out in the parking lot gossiping. You see them out doing this and doing that. And listen, here's the thing. Nobody is perfect. But with that same sentiment, in mind, seeing Kim Burrell talk on a consistent basis negatively, calling them perverts and talking about what she feels people are doing in their bedroom and how they're going to hell. And it's just been a very consistent story and conversation that I've heard out of her mouth. When I hear Kim Cattrall, I really don't think about, gospel music, pastoring. That's not the first thing I think of when I hear Kim Burrell. Anytime I hear Kim Burrell's name, anytime I see Kim Burrell, it's not for, her in the social media or her in the news. It's typically not for something that is good. It's typically for some type of horrible remark she's made to the gay community or her just saying and doing outlandish things. And I feel like in my experience, especially as I've grown older, I feel like a lot of people use the church as a front. They use the church as a mask to hide who they truly are, but then also fake feel important. And I feel like y'all gotta be scared. Y'all have to be scared. I have had some of the craziest, horrible, rudest, disrespectful, evilest experiences from people who swear they pastors and swear they're in the church. And, I've even seen certain pastors, throw off on people and, use their sermon as a way to shade people in the audience. And again, I am not saying that, because people are in the church, they have to be perfect. I am clearly not saying that. But I feel like when you are in the church, I don't want you to be known for bashing a certain community because you feel like they're going to hell. You do not have a heaven or a hell to put anybody in. And so what if there was a pastor talking about gluttony? Because we've seen, Kim Burrell's weight fluctuate, right? Now, she ain't just gaining weight because she want to. She's gaining weight and getting bigger and has been bigger because she has been eating. So at the end of the day, how would she feel if there was a pastor who was going in about people who were overweight, people who were obese, people who are gluttonous? Like, how would she feel? And to be honest with y'all, I have thought this for so long. When I see anybody who identifies as heterosexual, as a straight man or woman, and they have such a, focus on people who are gay, and by focus, I even mean like a hate, 9 times out of 10, they're probably closeted gay themselves. That, I swear to y'all, when I see anybody, man or woman, talking about how they hate gay people and always talking about gay people, I have seen people swear up and down they're homophobic, they hate gay people, this, that, and the third, and they're actually truly gay, or they've been caught in homosexual relationships. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I find that when people are so angry about a certain situation, it's because they are triggered. All you have to do is pay attention to, how people move, how people act, what they focus on, and they're telling you a lot. I don't want to minimize, y'all, there is a flyer. I don't want to minimize her apology because, again, the same way I'm telling her that, he who is without sin should cast the first stone, same on this side. But if I just had to tell you my opinion and if I had to bet my money on it, I truly think that apology was just for the cameras. That apology was just for the cameras. I heard a rumor that her husband left her for a man. And that's alleged. And if that is actually true, then I could totally see, why she would have that disdain for, the gay community. And I also feel like she is fighting something inside of herself. And that is why she's consistently and constantly talking about this one particular community. there is so much sin. There is so much sin. There are so many things that are harmful to people here on this earth before being in the LGBT community. Like, there are so many other things that you should be focused on before talking about the LGBT community and what they're doing behind a closed door. She said a lot of just, negative things, but ultimately I just don't believe that apology was sincere. I believe it was just for the stage, just for the award. And I think that she's come to a place to understand that the LGBT community is a strong community. They have a lot of, They got a lot more pull, honestly, than the Black community, to be honest. And I think that, either you're going to be with them or be against them. And I think that she's against them behind closed doors. And I think that she wants to be with them in front of the camera. And it just really sucks. I just want people who are in the church, people who are going to church every Sunday, just stop being so judgmental. Because I think about all of the people in my lifetime, especially when I was very active in church and constantly going to church, especially in college. I just remember so many people saying how, people in church are the biggest hypocrites. People in church, they be the main ones. And that is, that is really the sentiments when it comes to church and church people. And I feel like we have an obligation to change that. There's been a lot of controversy when it comes to the church, when it comes to pedophiles in the church, when it comes to abusers in the church. That's really right now what the church be like known for. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this drama. And I honestly know that, social media only wants to talk about the drama, the negative stuff, the stuff that's going to get views. But there's a lot of it. It's not hard to find when it comes to the church. If it's not Shawnee O'Neal and her new husband, then it's, Pastor Eddie Long and his, transgressions. And, I think he's passed away, so God rest his soul if he has. But there's always something crazy coming out in the headlines against the church. So I would just really champion the people in the church to make it their business to change the narrative of the church. One thing that I'm finding that I'm truly here for is that people are not so much attached to the church anymore as much as but they're actually more so being attached to a personal relationship with God. I think people are trying to find God for themselves, and I think people are trying to build a relationship with God themselves. And I'm actually here for it. And I know that with this new generation, and I was having a conversation with my friend and I was telling her about manifesting. And I was telling her that when I look at manifesting, I look at it as just, having faith and believing, to me, manifesting and faith are the same thing. And, she argued back and she was like, no, I'm not with that manifesting stuff. I'm not with that manifesting stuff. I'm only about faith. I'm just like that, it's stuff like that makes people not want to mess with the Christians, right? And not want to mess with the church. Have your opinion, have your own convictions. And that's the thing. What you may feel convicted in and what you may feel passionate about might be very different than what I feel convicted in and what I feel passionate about. I just feel like sometimes we have to be a little bit more open-minded and know that God is truly within us, and God is not in a pastor. God is not in a church. God is not a physical church or a physical human. We have to push to have our own personal relationships with God. And I think for myself personally, when I kind of changed my thought process from, I've always been in the church, always been in the choir. And when I went through my divorce, I was really so ashamed to go to church, right? And I remember that I would force myself to go to church. And I used to always say that I left feeling so much worse and feeling bad. And it's because I was going to church out of fear. I was going to church and then going back home and being depressed, and being down. And I think once I changed it from me focusing on, okay, I went to church, I can check that off my list. If my mama called me, she know that I went to church, or at least I can say that I was in church on Sunday. But going to church on Sunday, there's 6 other days in the week. You know what I'm saying? And those 2 hours out of a 24-hour day, just going there doesn't do enough. Because a lot of people, like I said, who go there and be the main ones in the mess and the main ones gossiping and with the drama and like with the judgment. I think that's one of the major things, is like the judgment. So I feel like when I kind of changed my personal conviction, my personal relationship with God, and made it more so about a personal relationship with him versus a personal relationship with a physical church, that's when I really feel like I began to know God for myself. And I still have a lot of work to do, but I think that the important thing is that we have our personal relationship with God. We don't look at him as this, untouchable, I feel like sometimes a lot of people even look at the pastors as a god. A lot of people look at the pastors as a god or as their god sometimes. Now, they won't admit that, but that's why you'll see a lot of these people who are uneducated, who don't got no backbone, they run to the church because they just want somebody to lead them. And a lot of pastors know that. Some of the biggest crooked people are pastors. Some of the biggest thieves have been pastors. And I don't want to say like this is all churches and this is all pastors. I'm just speaking to you from my experience and my, conversations with other people. And I have seen some pastors do some shisty things. And a lot of times pastors know that they have people in the church who sometimes have a cult-like mentality. They want to make sure they look the best, have the best hat on. They're known for being a trustee or known for being a deacon, and that makes them feel on a certain highness. And now they've turned having a personal relationship with God into trying to appease or trying to like cater to this pastor, when everybody's focus and everybody's goal should be making sure that you have a personal relationship with God and that you're more focused on God than you are focused on this man preaching. We have to understand that a good pastor is going to be called by God. And to me, a good pastor is going to want, his deacons and his church followers to focus more so on their relationship with God, more so than their relationship with him. And I'll just close with this. It has always, even when I was a little girl, made me scared and nervous about the karma that people like. Karma is something that I don't think we talk about enough. Karma is one of the things like that I always think about in my actions, in my conversations, in my dealings, because I always tell my daughter, you gotta be careful of the seeds you're sowing, because the seeds that you're sowing, they're going to grow and they're going to bloom. And either you're going to be sowing some positive seeds and get some good produce, or you're going to be sowing some evil, negative seeds, and then you can get some bad produce, and that's not good, because now you eating crap and bad stuff is happening to you because of what you're ingesting from that bad seed. Child, I done went all over the place with this, but it's just a very personal topic and conversation for me, because with Kim Burrell, it's just like, child, I'm so tired of seeing her name on social media and on the blogs with some mess. I'm really tired of it. And I am just tired of her, to be honest with you. I think she is one of those people who use the church to make them feel important. I think a lot of people go to church, not go to church, but a lot of people try to, and I don't even want to say a lot of people, but there's certain people in the church in these big leader roles who are just in these roles just to feel important and to feel like there's somebody, and they're doing all types of horrible stuff once they leave that pulpit or once they leave that church. And we got to do better. I'm going to close with this. Make sure that you develop your own personal relationship with God. Don't look at God as this, as this untouchable thing. I feel like we all have God in us. I feel like I need to talk to God about my decisions. I need to go to God in all things. I'm talking to him. I think about my dad. God is my spiritual father. He is my father. God wants what's best for me. God is going to chastise me when I'm in the wrong. And, I need to consider him in all things. So at the end of the day, focus on your relationship with God. Kim Burrell, I don't really want to hear your apologies. I want to see your actions. I want to see you working with the LGBTQ community. I want to see you acting on that apology and not just giving us pretty words as people like to do. But listen, let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Welcome to the That's Scary with Meloney P family. We got a lot of great shows coming up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next episode.